I'm so curious to see how Jayens tries to attack this Ole Miss defense because Padula and Morrell had Sears from Alabama in clamps for 40 minutes. I mean, he could get nothing clean at all. He had to work for every step that he took. I assume they're going to approach Josh Hubbard the same way.
Right.
And really just – and both of those guards – now, Padula is smaller than Morrell. Morrell can be physical, right? He's an imposing guard physically, and they're really going to make Hubbard work for everything. And so do they how do they approach it? Do they do a lot of sets to try to get him open looks, or is it going to be more about him being smart and dishing the ball? And that's going to be an awesome matchup to watch, is those two guys for Ole Miss against Hubbard, and how Jayens approaches Ole Miss and how Ole Miss approaches Hubbard and how they adjust throughout the course of the game. That's going to be fun.
That's going to be, the chess match between these two coaches. These two of the top coaches in college basketball right now. And so I'm very interested to see, the opening game plan, the quick adjustments, then the adjustments to the adjustments, and go on and so forth. And, you can't help but think this is going to be a very close down-to-the-wire game.
Somebody just says in all caps, Malik Dia. Yeah, I understand why you're excited about him for sure. Has unlocked something in his game. The ability to – and this is another, speaking of chess matches, how Mississippi State's going to approach him, because his ability to not only make outside shots but put the ball on the floor and drive to the basket and make mid-ranges, he's got a very complete offensive game. And so how is Mississippi State going to approach him? Do you try to attack him with Cam Matthews, even though Matthews gives up some weight, size on the block, but you think he'd be a better, more capable defender when they pull him out onto the perimeter? Or does State trust a big to try to that's another thing. How are they going to try to defend Dia, because he can put the ball on the floor and attack the basket as well as make those outside shots?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that. My first thought is to put Matthews out there, just because, like I said, playing on the perimeter, I don't know if you want Nwoko doing that. Now, Keyshawn Murphy maybe could do it. He's a little bit better athlete, I think. But at the same time, do you want Cam Matthews on their best player? Do you want him on Morrell? So yeah, I feel like State can match up, with Murray and Hubbard, with Medulla and either Harris or Melendez. But Melendez might be the guy who gets the assignment on Morrell. Melendez is an outstanding defender. So is Kugel. Mm-hmm. Both of those guys, I think, can go with Morrell. So that matchup with Dia is going to be a very interesting one. Like you said, the way he draws defenders out to the perimeter could open up some other things for Ole Miss.
Yeah. Bubba says Hubbard will be fine. Relax. I tend to agree, but it needs to start Saturday. I mean, this is a very important game for Hubbard in particular, just individually, for him to get some confidence back and lead his team to a win on his home floor that has. It'll help the tournament resume, but also just the sentimentality of beating Ole Miss. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day. There is something about getting a home win in basketball that does so much more than a big road win. Yeah. There's just something about it. So if he can play well on his home floor and get a resume-building win, and, by the way, beat Ole Miss, that could really immediately change this negative, not perception, but this kind of frustration around him in particular from State fans.
Agreed. Yeah, something about it. You're not wrong that when you're at home and the crowd can be into it the whole game and you can celebrate at the end, that does give you a little extra boost sometimes. So we'll see if State can take advantage of that on Saturday.